Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner, and we are very privileged to have Thiart, one of our business development consultants, joining us today. And you're a business development consultant by day, is what you say.
Yes, yeah, by day.
And by night we don't talk about.
Yeah, that's not for another day, not for this episode.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah. Kenny, we've got an interesting topic today. We're going to go back in time a little bit. There's so much happening. AI is, all over the show and all the hype and all of that stuff. And we've gone through so many things. But if you look back to where things were, let's say 10 years ago, 2016, and you could kind of tell yourself, what you know now back then in terms of this industry in South Africa and everything, what was big back in 2016.
Yeah, so looking back, I would probably say, pardon the pun, but big data was a big thing back then.
Velocity, volume.
The big struggle to collect all that amounts of ingest or data from the customers and making sure that it's reliable and make sure it's storable at least. And then since then to now, looking forward or looking at the current point in time, it's actually now we need to obviously interpret that data to get some information out of it and hopefully improve productivity, doing analytics on that information. That's where we are today.
But it was a thing. I think we take it for granted now, dealing with larger volumes of data.
Yes.
But if you think about it, back then, structured data or data in like databases, rows and things like that, was the bulk of the organization's data, and it was shifting because suddenly folks were, recording videos, and we started having PDFs that's been digitized. So this unstructured data became a big thing in organizations, and the traditional kind of methods wasn't really working at that time in terms of how to store it, right, and to classify it and to wrap metadata around. So if I think back 2016, like you're saying, dealing with that stuff was no one kind of knew what that was going to look like.
Back then, there was I remember there was endpoint agents that we had to deploy. It was called DLO.
Okay.
And then we had to protect company data, but not private data. So those would have MP3s and videos and stuff on there.
Yeah. You're backing up Oak's data and it's his entire Nirvana CD collection,
personal collection as well.
Exactly.
So that was a big challenge back then.
Yeah. So data classification, big data, and the volume of how fast it was being created was outstripping, kind of the record kind of data.
Right? Back then it was a major achievement when they launched the 1 terabyte drive.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
And SSDs were kind of new still.
It's
so it's
bleeding edge.
Bleeding edge. Didn't have the speed. You're still running spinning disk.
But back then the discussion was to optimize cost. Let's look at a SSD tier, and then you tier off to cheaper storage, which was probably the most cost effective back then
to do that. And the technologies around that.
Around that, you're talking hotspotting again,
so the value has shifted. It has changed quite a bit. If we then look at the advent of cloud, the hype around that, I remember, in 2015, there was no local Microsoft data center or AWS or anything. In 2016, only came a lot later, right? So, what was your thoughts around that development and how the cloud has impacted, over the last 10 years in our business?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of CEOs or CTOs that sits around the bar and decides, let's all move to cloud. And that's probably what they decided back then. And big institutions decided, let's do a mass exodus to cloud. And they soon realized cost predictability in cloud and performance and optimization are not as easy.
To get it in there and get it back. It's not a save all kind of.
Yeah, not all workloads are meant for cloud. That's a big thing. You need to optimize and decide which ones go to cloud and which ones stay on-prem.
Because that hype was big. The reality that that we ended up, or that started emerging was that, hybrid, there's multimodal kind of approach to, to the things. Like I think you mentioned once, if it's native, cloud native,
Yeah.
I
mean, that's where containerization was born. I mean, Kubernetes in cloud, that makes sense. If it's developed for cloud, so it basically starts there. That's where it should belong. But if it's standard VM virtualization, most of those workloads normally run on-prem.
Yeah, I remember some folks thinking they're going to do mainframe in the cloud as well.
Yeah.
And see how that goes. So no, it's been really an interesting journey. I think we're now at the cusp of a whole new hype cycle with AI, and that's what's happening now. And I think what we're going to do is in our next episode, we delve into the last couple of years of AI and then what it looks like going forward, and let's project a little bit into the future. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go.
Kenny, thank you for joining us on our first episode together. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you guys.